The inside pre-trip inspection, we already did it last week, and before that. So it looks like unless there is a new guys this registered this week, most of you guys, I am assuming, you have a little bit idea what to do inside. All right. I mean, the major thing from inside is going to be a brake test. So make sure try to memorize all how to do the brake test. That's the key, because you can fail for the brake test. Is anybody here for the bus? Okay. The bus, guys, once if you complete the outside, when you come in, you need to check the steps. Make sure they are clean and clear, no oil, no grease. It should not be slippery. We have a handrail here. You need to check all the bolts. The screws should be tight and secure. You need to check the aisles. Make sure it has to be clean and clear. You need to go all the way back to the emergency door. You open, you close. Make sure the door has to be open and shut smoothly. When you come, you can find those 4 red handles. You need to open and shut at least one of them. So make sure it is on the working condition. Now I'm going to be for everybody. I'm assuming everybody finished the outside pre-trip inspection. So we are going to do the inside. The first thing you need to do when you do the inside pre-trip inspection, once if you complete the outside part, the first thing you need to do is you go inside the vehicle, you put your seat belt, and you start the engine. The engine must be on the working, running condition when you start doing the pre-trip inspection. Okay, so do not miss that step. Every time when you start doing the pre-trip inspection, especially inside, the engine must be on the running condition. All right, the engine must run. All right, once if you complete that one, for those of you guys taking this vehicle or the other, make sure you need to start explaining to them step by step. When you go step by step, start from the right side or start from the left side, but you need to move on step by step. Let's start from the left side. The left side of the driver, which is on the right side of me. The outside mirror. We already did the outside mirror when we do the section B or the entire vehicle. For the missing hardwares. Now when you are inside, you need to check the adjustment. The mirror must be adjusted because you can control the traffic. You can be able to see what is next to you or how you can avoid any kind of issues. Once if you complete that one, make sure properly adjusted, you move in. There is 2 different things, different switches you guys need to find for those of the Bs. The first one is the heater, the second one is defroster. Make sure you need to try them both. They have to be on. Make sure you have to fill it. The air should be blown when you do the defroster. When you do the heater, make sure the air is working. On both of you guys, when the class is, they are on the middle of the panel. You need to go turn on and off, which direction or which position you are going to do it. So make sure you need to do that part. When you complete, you move up. You see the windshield, no crack, no broken, no chips, and also no illegal sticker on it or expired sticker on it. Make sure. And you see the wiper has a blade, the wiper has an arm. So you need to check both. The arm has to be on the good condition. It has to be no damage, no crack, no broken, no bent or dent. And the wiper blade itself, the plastic part of it, no missing, no cut. Yeah, you need to check those part of stuff. So when you move, you can find the steering system and also the dashboard is there. The steering system not more than 10-degree free play on 20-inch wheel. And you need to check the horn, make sure it has to be on the working condition. And inside there is a dashboard. Inside the dashboard there is 4 different gauges you need to focus. Okay, those gauges, they must memorize the numbers of those gauges. The first one is the heat, the water temperature gauge. Make sure it has to be not between 170 to 210. And the second one is a voltmeter, not less than 12 to 14 psi volts. And the oil gauge is not between 40 to 60, and also the water temperature gauge is between 120, 180 to 210. And we also have air gauge between 100 to 140, or 120 to 140. It has to be between those. Okay, those 4 gauges are, make sure do not forget, the oil gauge for 40 to 60, the water temperature gauge between 170 to 210, the voltmeter between 12 to 14 volts, and also the air gauge 120 to 140. You must memorize those 4 gauges. Okay, You have to talk the numbers. You have to know exactly what is what. It's already written on them, so when you start seeing it, you can memorize it. All right, the other one is gear shaft or clutch. For those of you guys taking the manuals, you need to start shifting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for those of you guys doing the automatics, you just need to drive in reverse and put it back to neutral again. That tells you the vehicle is properly, you can switch it or you can engage the clutch. And the other one is every time when you do something, you can feel it. The vehicle is engaging, the gear is engaging properly. That's what you need to know. And we have 3 emergency equipments: the fire extinguisher, which is fully charged, the spare fuse, and triangle reflector. Those 3, you guys need to memorize them exactly. You need to know where they are so you can be able to demonstrate or you can show them. All right. Okay. Once if you complete this part of it, you have a lights you need to check. So there is 5 different lights you need to check: the headlight, the signal light, the 4-way flasher, the brake light, and also the reverse light. You must know the switches where they are located because you are going to demonstrate. Okay, the headlight, high and low, make sure you have to know how to do it. The signal lights, left and right, and also front and back. The 4-way flasher or hazard light for front and back. The reverse light is on the back, and the brake light is on the back. So once if you know or you demonstrate from inside, you're gonna ask the tester to go out and check for you if the lights are working or not. That's a mandatory. If you wanna earn that point, the light point, you must demonstrate. You must tell them to go out and check for you. So you need, when they go out, you have to demonstrate one by one. Headlight, you turn it on, you turn high and low. Signal light front, left and right. 4-way flasher front, you're gonna demonstrate. Once if they complete this one and you agree they are watching or they are seeing what you are doing, you're gonna ask them to go on the back. When they go on the back, you do the same. Signal light on the left, signal light on the right, 4-way flasher on the back. You need to do the brake light, and we also do the reverse light. Okay, everything has to be completed. Once if you complete that one, the last test you are going to do is going to be a brake test. All right. I want you guys to memorize exactly the way how you should demonstrate the brake test. Okay? No matter what, you are good doing the pre-trip inspection outside. If you don't know how to do the brake test, automatically you fail the test. I have seen this again and again and again, so I emphasize for you guys to make sure memorize it. And you can do the brake test again and again and again. If you are not comfortable the way you do it or the outcome you are expecting to see, you still can redo it again. All you need to do is, okay, I want to do it again. You do it again and do it again. As long as you have a time, you can do it again and again and again. All right? Do not hesitate to try again. Do not hesitate to test again, because that's your right to do it. As long as you are not happy the way you do it, you can redo it. All right, let's do the brake test. The brake test is 2 different sections. To me, first you have to prepare the vehicle for the test, and second you do the actual test. Okay, how do we prepare the vehicle? That's the major thing you guys need to focus. Okay, to do proper brake testing, the vehicle must be ready. Okay, how do we do it? That is the key part of this brake test. The first thing you need to do is make sure you need to know how many psi air do you have. You have to have, before you start the testing, you have to have between 120 to 140 psi. Once if you're sure you have that, you need to turn the engine off and you need to turn the key on position. And the last one is going to be releasing the brakes. Okay, when you finish these 3, make sure you have to secure this vehicle for the test. How many air you have? 120 to 140. Where is the engine? Is this on running position or not running position? Make sure the engine has to be on the off, not on the running position, but the key must be on position. Engine off, key on. And after that, you need to release all the brakes. What we have here is we have service brake and we also have parking brakes. We have to release both of them. Your foot should not be on the service brake, and your parking brake has to be released on both of them. For those of you guys taking the class A, make sure the truck and the trailer has to be off. For those of you guys taking the class B, you just need to release one you have. Okay? This is the way how you are preparing the vehicle. If you don't know how to do this thing, you must be, you know, more engaged. You need to prepare this part. All right, I'm not encouraging or entertaining for those of you guys to miss something outside. Okay, you can. There is a possibility you might miss 1, 2, 3 parts outside. But if you miss one step from the brake test, you're automatically going to fail. So pay attention when you do the brake testing. We good? Okay. Remember, we are just preparing the vehicle for the test. We are not doing anything on the test. We're just preparing the vehicle for the test. Now the next step what we are going to do is we are going to do the actual test. The actual test, what we do is there's 3 steps. Okay, the first one is a 1-minute brake test. You push the brake, you wait until the gauge is settled, and you time for 60 seconds or 1 minute. Use your timing, your phone, digital thing. Do not use any analog phone, watches. Use a digital, use your phone. Make it 0 and go wait until it gets to 62, 63 seconds. That is a 1-minute brake test. And see how many leaks do you have. Okay? So within 60 seconds, you shouldn't have not more than 4 psi for those of you guys taking class A, and not more than 3 psi for those of you guys taking class B. So you need to know the difference between those two and what is that means. What is 4 psi mean? What is 3 psi mean? What is 60 seconds mean? You have to be familiar with this. Okay. Once if you complete that part of the test, you are going to do the test on which is a warning light or sound. We are expecting to see around 60 psi. We are expecting to see the light should be on or the sound should be on. That gives you some kind of indicators. That's indicators for you to know you have some kind of trouble. Your vehicle is leaking air somewhere. When you start, you have 120. Now you are on the middle of the road, which is on the trip, and you start hearing the sound. That tells you, okay, there is a problem. Okay, there is somewhere air is leaking. So in that case, you need to pull over. You need to pull over and explain the tester. You are going to, as soon as you hear the sound or light, you need to pull over and fix the problem before you proceed. Once if you complete that part of the test, we're going to go to the third one. The third one is going to be the pop-out test. Okay, once if you complete the second test, which is the warning and the sound test, and we are going to pump more. When you pump more around 20 psi, automatically the brake you released is going to be pop out. All right, these 3 things to be they are designed to act this way. If they are not acting the way you are expect them to be, that means there is some problem. Okay, the problem is not the vehicle. The problem is you, your steps. It's not correct. So where did you do a mistake? Where was that? Where is it? What happened? So you need to start watching. If you don't see the light, that means there is a problem you did. If the pop-out is not there, that means there is a problem you did. So what happened? You need to go back and check the steps. What did you do? Is the vehicle is properly ready for the test? If it is not, you have to start the engine and you have to build the air all the way back and come back from the 1-minute brake test again. Okay? You cannot do the partial test. The test has to be completed. So make sure if you do mistakes on the middle of the test, if you have any issues, that means there is somewhere you did not prepare this vehicle for the test properly. If you did not, and if you figure it out what happened, you have to restart the engine. You have to build all the way back up to 120 and you come down again. When you come down again, make sure do not do the same mistake you did earlier. So you have to correct it. If you did not turn the key on around 60 psi, you cannot see no sound. You cannot see no light. That means you did a mistake when you do the brake test. So how are you going to correct that? So you have to rebuild the engine again and start from the beginning. Or on the middle of or on the last part of the test, automatically should be pop out. If it does not pop out, that means you did not push the brake first. You did not release the brake first. You cannot just say, oh, okay, I forgot, now this is good. No, you cannot do that. You still have to rebuild the air again. From 1 minute brake test, you have to come down again. Okay? You cannot correct your mistakes on the middle of the test. But you can go back up and start doing it the procedure again. You can do that. But you cannot correct your mistakes on the middle of the brake test. Everybody understand? If you feel you did something wrong, you have to restart the testing. You cannot start from the middle. You cannot correct your mistake from the middle. We're good?
Yeah.
All right. The last one is going to be the parking brake test and also the service brake test. What we're going to do there is we are going to restart the engine because we don't have air, so we have to rebuild. We build the air all the way up to 120, and we're going to start testing the service brake test and also the parking brake test. What we're going to do is, while the brake test is applied, the service brake is already on, so you are going to try to move. If you move and the vehicle is moving while the parking brake is still on, that means we have a problem. Since we have a problem, we have to fix the parking brake before we go. Once if you complete that test, you're going to go to the service brake test. You release all the parking brakes and you try to move. If the vehicle is, when the vehicle is moving, you push the brake. The vehicle has to stop because the service brake has to work. Okay? We need to test those two, parking brake test and also service brake test. Make sure you have to complete this before you finish the brake test. Okay. Remember, we have 5 tests we're going to perform when you do the brake test. The first one is 1 minute brake test, the light and the sound test, and also the pop-out test. Once if you complete those 3, you're going to go to the service brake test and the parking brake test. To do those 2, make sure the engine has to be start, the air has to be 120, and you start moving the vehicle. That's a driving test, so you have to drive to test the service brake and the parking brake. We good?
Yeah, before that we have to run to choke sound.
Yeah. In the beginning of the test, they ask you to choke the vehicle. So when you start doing those 2 tests, the driving part of the test, make sure you need to go out and take the choke off. Any question? Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question. The first thing, when the building air, is that the number is 120 or 120 up to 40 or 100
to 120.
100 up to 140?
120 to 140.
120 to 40. Cool.
Or until the brake is bleeding. So when it's cut off. Yeah, you're good to go when it is cut off. If you hear that sound.
Is that the same thing to the bus too?
Yeah.
120 and to 140?
120 to 140,
Yeah,
correct. Any question? All right. Okay, what we